Welcome to an In Conversation with the Spark of Life model of care. My name is Emma Smith. I'm the project manager with Empowered Conversations, which is a project of Age UK Salford. Absolutely delighted to be joined by Hilary, who is the president for Dementia Care International, and Tanya, who is a Spark of Life master practitioner. Thank you so much, both of you, for joining us today.
Oh, it's great to be here. Thank you for having us.
You're very welcome. So our plan for today is I'm going to give you a little bit of background on Empowered Conversations. We're then going to move over to Hilary for a presentation. Tanya's going to share her experience of her training and how that's changed her work practice. And then we're going to move into a few questions from me and then over to you to pop your questions in. So if you look at the bottom of your screen, there's a Q&A button, so you can just press that and you can drop your questions in there and we'll make sure that we have time at the end to pick up those questions. If you haven't been to one of these before, as I said, my name is Emma. I'm the project manager with Empowered Conversations. We empower families affected by dementia to live as well as they can by keeping channels of communication and connection open. And we do that by delivering communication courses. So we have Empowered Conversations and also Moving Beyond Words. We offer one-to-one dementia-focused therapeutic support for empowered carers. We do regular webinars like this, and we have a few groups as well that support caregivers. My blurb is always very quick, Hilary, so it really is over to you now for your presentation, if that's okay.
That's great. Yes, I'll pop up the PowerPoint. And so I've got a presentation at sort of 25 minutes-ish long. And then look forward very much to hearing questions and having the panel afterwards. So I'll just share my screen. So just bear with me for 2 ticks. So just let me know if you can see that.
Yeah, Sam.
Wonderful. Great. So lovely to be here and to share with everyone today about the best practice Spark of Life model of care. And I'm going to bring this alive with this presentation for you. So Dementia Care International, firstly, just to introduce us, I'm the president of Dementia Care International, and Dementia Care International is the organisation behind the Spark of Life philosophy and model of care. And it was founded in 1993 by international dementia expert Jane Verity. She's wearing the pink in the photo here. And the focus of our organisation is on humanising dementia care and facilitating dementia rehabilitation. And then I joined with Dementia Care International in 2007, and that was after 7 years of researching the Spark of Life philosophy. A bit of background about Jane Verity. She's like myself, we both have an occupational therapy background. Jane is also a family therapist, and she's a master practitioner in neuro-linguistic programming, which is how language programs the brain. And in her journey, or as I guess coincidentally, while developing the Spark of Life philosophy and educating people around the world, her own mum actually developed dementia. So a lot of these strategies and tools and ways we connect, Jane actually did practice with her own mum and also has a lot of empathy as a family carer, as well as being a health professional. So that's just a bit of background about us. And so Dementia Care International supports global healthcare organisations, and actually on 5 continents. So we're working with leaders in aged care services around the world, and we support them to provide excellence in their psychological and emotional care practices and to sustainably build their own capacity for change. Dementia Care International has a humanitarian purpose, and it's about bringing to the community a sustainable model of quality care that's based on empathy, compassion, and kindness. And this best practice model shifts attitudes and builds relationships that dynamically transform dementia care. The model's applicable in all areas of aged care services, in residential and community care, and hospital and palliative care, and it can really be effectively integrated into current systems. So you don't have to start again. It will kind of connect with what's already in place and work well with it. So we support international healthcare leaders. A lot of our work now is via Zoom, and we do that by providing specialised education on the Spark of Life philosophy and model of care. And it's really through implementing this model of care that we can actually build relationships that are based on empathy, kindness and compassion. And it has unprecedented benefits for all involved. So not just for the people with dementia, but also for the staff, for the people who are working with them. It has a wonderful effect on the culture of care as well. So this is about supporting the human needs of people with dementia. And the outcomes of our support and the education and the mentoring that we provide really include things like a shift from task-orientated organisations to person-oriented organisations that focus on the perspective and the emotional needs of individuals. It also practically addresses some of the urgent issues that are currently experienced in aged care. And of course, you'd all be aware of these, including things like the significant reliance on medical restraint. And also enhancing staff understanding of the rights and the needs of people with dementia, which leads to a higher level of empathy and respect in care practice. And a very special element of the Spark of Life model of care is working towards facilitating rehabilitation in dementia care. And what we mean by rehabilitation, and another word for that is rementia, like the reversal of dementia symptoms. I've actually got another slide on that. I might just explain that here. It's a concept that was first used by Professor Tom Kitwood, who was the father of person-centered care in dementia. And rementia describes the recovery of lost abilities when the social and emotional environment becomes more supportive and more understanding. And you can see Tom Kitwood here, he's pictured here with Jane Verity, who was fortunate enough to go and study with him before he actually passed away, I think this very year in which the photo was taken in 1998. And so some of the other outcomes include improvement in cognitive abilities, the ability to think and reason and, perform tasks, enriched emotional and social health, a reduction in falls, and solved behaviours of concern with a non-pharmacological focus. So there were 7 years of research that I undertook prior to joining with Dementia Care International. And this starts really with a story when I was actually working at a small nursing home on the outskirts of Perth, where largely there were people with Korsakoff syndrome who were in this home. And Korsakoff is a type of dementia where people have had too much alcohol, and that has resulted in this form of dementia. And when people have Korsakoff dementia, quite often there are significant behavioural changes, and that was the case with a lot of the people who are in this home. And that was when I first came across Spark of Life, and I actually did a course in that year, and I brought back the knowledge to implement in this service. And we started to run the Spark of Life rehabilitative program with these people. And what I saw in the implementation of this program were really remarkable changes in a group of people who you would not have imagined it could be possible. Their behaviours just started to kind of melt away. They started to really come back to who they had been before in a lot of ways. It was really amazing to witness. They were improving in their social and cognitive skills. They were not having those extreme behaviours that they had had before. A lot of them were actually men, and I can only describe that they became very gentlemanly. They were opening the doors, wanting to offer sandwiches, telling jokes with a twinkle in their eye. Anyway, it was just incredible. And one of the additional results was that the nurses decided that they could see that they actually didn't need to be, these people didn't need to be on the amount of medication that they were taking for the behaviors. These were the antipsychotics and the sedatives that they had been given. So pretty much nearly everyone was able to come off these medications, which was another very unexpected outcome. And that got me thinking, has this program been researched? Because with the remarkable outcomes that I'd seen, I wondered why the program actually wasn't being more widely used, and imagine what it could do in basically a more mainstream dementia care, like what the possibilities could be. So I ended up embarking on this journey of 7 years of research. So I did the pilot study. This is with the people with Korsakoff syndrome between 2000 and 2003. And then I ended up doing 4 years doing a master degree in science at Curtin University of Technology in Perth, Western Australia. And that was a peer-reviewed qualitative study, which meant I did in-depth interviews with participants. And the participants that I interviewed were family carers and health professionals who were observing another group of people with dementia who were participating in this particular rehabilitative program, the Spark of Life rehabilitative program. And the outcomes of that research really led to, they became a catalyst for the development of the whole model of care, Spark of Life model of care. And one of the key outcomes was that it identified a need that the principles of the philosophy needed to be expanded to enrich all aspects of care, not just to be applied in this small group format, but to look at what was the essence that worked in that small group that could be then utilized to educate all the staff so they all had these skills to enrich the lives of people with dementia. So that led to the next step, which was then field testing the model. And initially, we were field testing the Spark of Life model of care in Australia and in New Zealand. And at that point, we were nominated for an international award, which we actually then unanimously actually received. So in 2009, we had international endorsement by the International Association for Homes and Services for the Aging. It's a bit of a mouthful. That's IASA. Now they have changed their name to the Global Aging Network. So, but back then they were IASA. And so we received the award for excellence in aging. And that award is not given to many organizations, like it's just one award that they offer every 2 years. So it is quite an achievement to receive that. And that's from this organization whose aims are to promote quality services to assist people who are aging. And they also work to pave the way to improve best practices in aged care so that older people everywhere can live healthier, stronger, and more independent lives. And you can see here in the photo, we're actually holding the plaque, the award that we received with lovely Baroness Sally Greengross, who was in the House of Lords for a special reception for the awards ceremony. And one of the reasons we actually received this award, and that was shared with us by Christa Merzender, who was she's a Swiss board member for the Global Aging Network, and she shared with us that Spark of Life was unanimously chosen because of its optimistic whole system towards dementia and dementia rehabilitation. So really, because it was positive, optimistic, it's giving people hope and actually enabling people to improve. And then at that time, we did some, I guess you could say, stakeholder consultation with Mark Pearson, who's pictured here in the centre, head of the health division at the OECD in Paris. And he happened to be a keynote presenter at the conference when we received this award. And we were particularly interested in this because two of the factors that he pointed out at the conference as being quite significant issues that we should pay attention to. These two issues were really that there is a lack of staff job satisfaction and a lack of education. And that relates to the OECD predicting that the human resource issue of recruitment and retention is going to become the biggest issue facing aged care in the future. And of course, that really was quite a correct prediction. Like, this is back in 2009. And if we look where we are now, of course, that really is a significant issue. So we have been working on this as these two key things, the job satisfaction issue and the lack of education. They've become quite a key focus for us at Dementia Care International to address that in a meaningful way, and to do that within the model of care that we have developed. So as part of the development of the Spark of Life model of care, we've really had at the forefront to solve this identified human resource issue. And the result of that is that we can really see in the services that are providing the model a heightened staff satisfaction, staff retention, and also heightened reputation of services who are implementing the model as a preferred employer. So all of those are really great things to see happening. Another thing that happened during this conference was that the global leaders identified a need for the Spark of Life model of care to become more internationally available. So we came back to Australia and we developed the Spark of Life Master Leadership Program, which we ran, the first year we ran it was March 2010. So again, we were responding to this identified need. And initially we used to run the program like in person, literally face to face in the same room. And you can see here a wonderful group of participants actually from 6 countries here. But since 2020, so since the COVID year, we transferred our education to be available via Zoom, which is actually much more convenient than people coming to Australia, even though it was nice, you know, they enjoyed it, but it's much easier to actually connect with countries via Zoom, as you can appreciate right now. So I'm going to share a little bit about the Spark of Life model of care, just to explain exactly what it is now. It's an innovative best practice model that facilitates dementia rehabilitation and quality care that's based on empathy and compassion. And the outcomes benefit the person with dementia, those who provide the care, and each healthcare service. So there are 3 distinct elements that make up the model. Firstly, there's the Spark of Life philosophy that underpins the entire implementation. So you can see that here in our logo of the model. There's the Spark of Life quality management system that's pictured here. That's for the structured implementation and for continuous improvement. And then there's the Spark of Life master practitioner, and they are really, we would have at least 1 master practitioner per service for the sustained implementation. So the actual model can be sustained and be successful, basically. So there are benefits for the entire service by adopting the model, and it benefits each level of the service with significant health outcomes, elevated care practices, and heightened staff satisfaction. So, and also from implementing the model of care, a new level of accreditation and auditing outcomes can also be achieved, as well as a strengthened reputation as preferred care providers and preferred employers. It's applicable across the spectrum of services. So no matter where you work, if you're a health professional working in aged care, this model will work for you. It can be applied in residential care, community care, palliative care, and hospital care. And this means that the model can flow seamlessly across the different service pathways. So just to explain a bit more about the first element of the model, which is the Spark of Life philosophy. So the Spark of Life philosophy is grounded in the premise that at the core of care is a human-to-human relationship that's based on empathy and compassion. And it places the person with dementia at the centre where their needs come first. And to further explain the Spark of Life philosophy, we know people with dementia often find themselves misunderstood as the dementia progresses. They may lose hope and confidence, and we can see in their eyes that the spark is dwindling. But when we shift and connect with kindness and compassion, that genuine love shows in our eyes, and instantly that's what the person with dementia connects with. A spark is ignited inside the person, which gives them the will to live again. This is what's at the core of the Spark of Life philosophy, to connect with empathy and compassion and to reignite that spark inside the person. And when implemented correctly, the philosophy facilitates dementia rehabilitation of the cognitive abilities. And we also know that it can reduce the need for psychotropic medication, like these are the medications that are used, for behavioural issues or changes. And a Spark of Life philosophy offers a practical solution and skills for staff to solve behaviours of concern with a long-lasting effect and thereby reduce that need for psychotropic medication. And just a word about time versus quality, because people sometimes think, oh, we just don't have time to do Spark of Life. Like, gosh, we're so busy, we've got so many jobs to do, we're short-staffed. But just to reassure you that the Spark of Life philosophy, it's not about time, it's about the quality of time that we spend with someone. It's about how we use the time that we have, those special moments that we have with the person, to bring out the best in that person. And it's a choice that we each make to enrich the other person's life each time we connect. Implementing the philosophy, it's done in two ways. There are educational programs for all the staff and volunteers and families in a service that enable people to learn to apply the philosophy in their interactions with people who have dementia. And then we also have the rehabilitative program for people with dementia. So that's a special small group program that's designed to boost the self-esteem and awaken dormant abilities and ignite the spirit in every single person who's participating. So there are two different ways that the philosophy is implemented. With the educational programs, what we are aiming to do is to enable the participants to comfortably shift attitudes and care practices, to build relationships that are based on empathy and compassion, and place the person with dementia at the centre where their needs come first. They cover a range of topics, including communication, understanding behaviour, and facilitating rehabilitation, rementia, which is, I explained that before. And our education's facilitated live via Zoom. It's highly interactive and provided through a unique facilitation process that brings alive each topic and anchors the learning in the long-term memory. So it's really designed to, I guess you could say, facilitate accelerated learning and for people to really go away with skills and feel more confident. So not only a confidence boosting program for people with dementia, but it's also a confidence boosting program for the staff through this education. And the language used is geared to people of all levels of English comprehension and can be effortlessly embraced also by participants for whom English is not their first language. And certainly, you know, we have a lot of people, because of the shortage of care workers, often people are sought from other countries to come and work. Maybe English isn't their first language. So we've really found that the Spark of Life philosophy and model of care speaks to people in very diverse cultures, and they really take away the benefits and they can learn it. The second element of the model of care is the Spark of Life quality management system. So that's basically, it's comprehensive resources that enable the master practitioner to implement the Spark of Life philosophy in a structured and a sustainable, measurable way, and also to ensure continuous improvement. So they're things like the education resources they're provided with, because they can then provide in-house education to their staff, to their colleagues. They don't have to develop that themselves. It's all provided in the quality management system, and also a tool for evaluation as well. So they've got a whole process for evaluating and doing their own continuous improvement monitoring in-house. Then the third element is the Spark of Life Master Practitioner. And it's great we have Tanya with us today on the panel, because Tanya, you are a master practitioner and you can bring alive to everyone what that means after the presentation. But just to introduce, Spark of Life Master Practitioners have undertaken a 3-week international master leadership program. It's very intensive, and they learn, you know, a very thorough understanding of the Spark of Life philosophy and model of care, and they're certified to provide the education as well as facilitate the implementation in their healthcare services. So who can become a Spark of Life Master Practitioner? So master practitioners, they are usually a healthcare leader, and they can be at the CEO, executive or board level. Certainly at a lead, they would be at a leadership level in the organization. And they're usually for people with a pioneering spirit as well, ready to take on something new and embrace that, and really have a very positive approach within their team, be well liked within their team, to inspire them to take on the model. The actual Master Leadership Program is provided firsthand both by Jane Verity and myself. And of course, as you know, we developed the model of care and the Master Leadership Program. So you're actually learning from the horse's mouth, so to speak. And we also provide continuous expert support and a professional development program. So once a Spark of Life Master Practitioner has been certified and embarks on the implementation of the model, the continuous expert support and professional development program commences. So this is bi-monthly education via Zoom, and really helps keep everyone up to date, especially as we often do have new developments and new resources. So we can educate people about what they are and how to use them. We might do some refresher education, and it's also an opportunity for learning from different leaders around the world who come to the education. And we give ongoing mentoring and guidance to the master practitioners as well. Then a service that embraces the model can work towards becoming a Spark of Life Centre of Excellence. And master practitioners are equipped with that knowledge and the skills and the tools that they can take their health service on the journey towards certification as a Spark of Life Centre of Excellence. So what's it like to be a Spark of Life Centre of Excellence? Well, healthcare services that have actually taken that journey, which would be usually a minimum of 2 years to actually reach that level, because there are standards they need to reach along the way. They will have really been able to provide a profound level of emotional support for the people in their care that's based on empathy, compassion, and love. And it extends to all who work there and everyone who visits. We have a beautiful Spark of Life Centre of Excellence that's in New Zealand, Adriel House and Adriel Rest Home, and they really have deserved that title. It's a beautiful home that actually has a farm. The owner has a farm as well, and so she is in a farming community, and a lot of the farmers there, they get to actually do a lot of activities and involvement in things that they would have done during their life. And yeah, you have to have a look on our website and see what they're doing, because I'd like to share more, but I don't think there's time right now to go into too much detail. But you can get the sense even from these photos, the kind of quality of life that you can see when you take an organisation to become a centre of excellence. So it's a best practice model of care, and we can say that because the Spark of Life model of care has got the strength of both scientific and humanistic theoretical foundations, and it's grounded in clinical practice and thoroughly researched. It's also been extensively field tested in diverse healthcare services and cultures on 5 continents. So in that process of the field testing, when there's been an identified need, we've done further development and created additional resources to respond to those identified needs. So that's really what's led to it being quite a comprehensive model with all the field testing. So best practice protocols for developing a model of care were actually followed in the development of the model. And also in practice, the model meets the World Health Organization definition of best practice, which is a technique or method that through experience and research has proven to reliably lead to the desired result. And just before we finish, we also have been doing quite a bit of work in the developing countries. And this is just one example of a developing country that we've supported to be able to take on the Spark of Life model of care. So just introducing you to the Geriatric Respite Care Foundation in Kampala, Uganda. And we've got Jessica Naki-Birango, founder of the Dyslexic Association, and Richard Samanda, founder of the Geriatric Respite Care Foundation. They both came to Perth and did our Master Leadership Program. That was when it was still face-to-face, back in 2015. And they've been applying the Spark of Life model of care very successfully in Kampala, Uganda, absolutely transforming the lives of their clients and people in the community. Jessica and Richard's services, they share the same building, and Jessica's students volunteer as support for Richard's Day Centre for people with dementia. And they also do work like outreach work in the community in rural Uganda. And this is just a photo of Jessica actually doing a Spark of Life presentation to a group of nuns out in really very remote Uganda, and supporting them because the nuns were struggling to actually care for the nuns who had dementia in their community. They were really just locked in their rooms, and they would take food to them to feed them, but they weren't sure how to manage or what to do. And so through this education they were actually able to transform their lives and give the nuns the skills to care for the nuns who had dementia. So this model is really having quite far-reaching and remarkable benefits in all sorts of places around the world. And these are just the ways you can contact us via email, info@dementiacareinternational.com, like if you're wanting to find out about education or courses or the Master Leadership Program. And of course, our website, dementiacareinternational.com. So that is the little presentation. I'm going to stop sharing and say hello to you all back here on the panel.
Oh, Hilary, that was fantastic. It was so good to understand the foundation that sits underneath all of it and then get the examples of how it's being used. If somebody's watching this now and thinking, crikey, I want to know more about the Master Leadership Programme, how much does it cost and when can they get on one?
Well, the next course is actually on the 2nd to 22nd of November. Applications are due on the 2nd of October. And I think the best is if people email us to find out a bit more, because the Master Leadership Programme is sort of part of the entire model. So we always will create a relationship and get to know the service first. So the first step would be to contact us. Then we'll make a time to actually have a Zoom meeting and actually connect and look at what they're wanting to achieve. And there's so many elements to be considered, like how many master practitioners would a service need. So if they're a larger service, they might actually need more than one. Are they part of a big organization? So that would be the first step, just to email us, and then we can give them lots of information.
That's brilliant. Thanks, Hilary. Tanya, you are a master leader. Well done. You've done the programme. Do you want to introduce yourself to people, please?
Yes, sure. So my name is Tanya Hammond. My background is in nursing. I've been a registered nurse for more than 30 years. Yes, I really am that old. And I did the Master Leadership Program back in 2019. So just before COVID hit, I was lucky enough to go to Perth and spend 3 weeks doing the program there. But I had known about the Spark of Life education for at least 10 years before that, and had done some other education locally in my local health service as well. Yeah, so that's kind of how I became a master practitioner, I guess. And I just, I don't know, it's just the most incredibly amazing program I think anyone will ever do, I have to say. I've done lots of education as a nurse in my time, but I've never ever done a program where once you finish your education, most other programs, you finish your education and that is it. You don't really have contact anymore with the organisation that provides. And I guess that's a really unique point of difference with Dementia Care International, is that ongoing professional development, the ongoing support is not really something that I've ever experienced before.
Yeah, I was really interested about that. So it's a bi-monthly sessions that you run. So you're bringing in that any new practice, things change, things evolve, shared practice as well, I guess, amongst practitioners. So the learning culture within, it's not just Hilary sharing with you. I imagine it's both ways, that you're saying, oh, and I've done it this way, and then that sort of just builds that understanding and learning and sharing.
Absolutely.
Can you tell us oh, sorry, Hilary, did you want to say something?
No, it's all right, carry on.
Tanya, can you tell us a little bit about how the training changed the care culture that you were working in, and where were you working? Are you working in that same place now?
Yes, I am. I've worked for the same organisation for about 18 years now. So I work in a small rural service in South Australia. So when I say small, it's small in terms of the numbers of people that we provide services to, but geographically it covers more than 330,000 square kilometres. So actually bigger than the UK. And so my role is nurse practitioner for aged care, and there is only one of me in our whole organisation. So I cover the whole 330,000 square kilometres. But we have 10 residential aged care homes in our area. We've got 11 hospitals that provide acute and emergency care, and we also have primary health care and community services as well. So it's quite diverse in the types of services that we provide. I guess where I can see some incredible changes in the way the Master Leadership Program has been implemented is in that in my role, what the education has enabled me to do is really focus on the quality of the interactions that I have between myself and the people, either the people that I'm supporting, so people living with dementia, or even their family members, or even staff and other colleagues that I work with. it's just transferable across whatever interaction I'm having. It just gives me the skills to make sure that that interaction every single time is 100% quality. And then I get the most out of the people that I'm supporting and that I'm working with. It's probably the biggest change, I would say. I'll give an example too. Once a month, I travel sort of 60 kilometres away and work with a geriatrician to see people from the community, and we work on maybe providing a diagnosis of dementia and other conditions. And what I do find is by using Spark of Life communication techniques, that when I'm doing memory testing with these people, they always do better. So then I take them in to see the geriatrician, and he looks at the results and he says, well, that's a surprise. I wasn't expecting them to do that well. And then he says, I can see that you've spent some time with Tanya. So yeah. So I guess it's just proof in the pudding that when you apply the principles, people who are living with dementia, they do perform better on memory testing. They communicate better. So yeah, it's quite amazing.
Fantastic. I feel like person-centered care, that term gets bandied around a lot. Every place you ever go to, it's person-centered care. But I don't know if it ever, if it really is. It feels like the Spark of Life has made that more sort of tangible, made it more real, less about, oh, it's person-centered care, and actually there's something underneath that, which is the empathy and compassion. Can you talk a bit about that?
It's a really good comment, because I think person-centered care is a bit of a catchphrase that gets used a lot. But I think because the foundation of the Spark of Life philosophy is based on true person-centered care, like at its core, the true philosophy that Tom Kitwood, talked about. I don't know, Hilary, am I saying the right words here?
No, you're absolutely spot on. And what you're saying is just making me think about Tom Kitwood's flower. He created a flower of the core psychological needs of the person, and in the middle of the flower, how a flower always has the middle bit or the petals stuck on, that's where he had love. And I think that's really what Spark of Life is about. But it's not just naming that, it's actually, how do you do that? How do you connect in that way? And that's one of the things we actually teach people to do, and make with definition, so people can feel safe, not to feel that it's fluffy or that it's unprofessional, but how do you connect just in that human to human way, with emotion, and to have that empathy, and that people can feel that warmth, and just learning those skills to do that comfortably. I think that is one of the strengths of Spark of Life philosophy and model of care. And as you say, with person-centered care, I think it's been watered down over the years, and sometimes it's just thought of as giving people choices. Well, we do person-centered care because we give someone a choice. But it's a bit more than that. And looking, when you go really deeper to look at the essence of the person, and like who they have been, and to really understand, their past, and to understand the emotional needs in the present, and what might be the unmet emotional need. Maybe that's a reason behind a behavioural change. And how can we meet those emotional needs in a meaningful way? These are skills that can be taught in a very simple, practical way, and people can take them away and they're like, I know what to do now. And it's not that hard. It's just having that knowledge. And, none of us get taught that. As in OT, as professionals, we don't get taught this at university. This is really unique. And it's like it's filling a gap in that knowledge that, once you know it, it makes things so much easier.
Brilliant. Thank you both. This is your opportunity now to ask Hilary or Tanya a question. So if you just drop them in the Q&A at the bottom, we will pick them up from there. I'm going to ask, it was really interesting to see sort of that global, the map. We're working across 5 continents. Can you tell us a little bit more about your work around the world? Because I think that's really interesting.
Yes, there are just so many amazing services that are working with us, and it's There's a few different ones in Africa. One of the ones in Zambia, there we've got a master practitioner who's working at the Alzheimer's and related dementias in Zambia. And he's doing some quite remarkable work, because in Zambia, and actually quite a number of the African countries, dementia can be misunderstood as witchcraft. So they literally call them witches and wizards. And unfortunately, that often leads to them being put to death. So he's actually using the Spark of Life philosophy and model of care as a way of educating the community to really understand what dementia is and how you can support people with dementia. And just recently, we've heard that actually the number of witchcraft accusations have diminished. So he's actually said this is saving lives. Like, we would never have imagined this was going to be used for that purpose, but it's actually incredible, you know, to hear that. So he's using it, you know, in a more mainstream way in the day centre service as well, but they do a lot of outreach work in Zambia with the model of care. In Kenya, there's an elder rescue service. It's the James Care Homes, and so it's also like a residential care centre, but also dementia rescue for people who need support, who might have been abused in the community. There's 2 services, actually 3 services in India. So one in Kolkata, and that's a wonderful day centre. That's ARDSI. They're providing support to people who are really, you know, poverty stricken over there, and they're providing very valuable support. Then there are 14 day centres in Mumbai that are run by the Adata Trust, and they also have a residential care centre, so they're doing unique work there. And another service also in Mumbai, run by Sailesh Mishra of Silver Innings. He's running a social enterprise there too that has a home that's supporting people with dementia. So I can go on for quite a while about these, but there might be some other questions we need to answer first. So I don't know if you want to do that, and I'm happy to share a few more because they're all very exciting.
I know, it just blows my mind, like the reach that you have with your work is huge, and I know that certainly in the less developed areas, they're subsidized or given for free. So, you know, you're giving back to the world. So
We
that's
are.
fantastic.
In more ways than people know.
All right, we have got some questions. So I'll start with the last one that came in from Kate. Would you say that the philosophy could be applied in other areas, not just with people living with dementia? What a different world we would have.
100%. That's a yes. You know it is.
They are. We actually have a centre in Kosovo, Centre for Rehabilitation for Torture Victims, believe it or not. They are applying the Spark of Life philosophy there with people who've been really traumatised from the 1999 war in Kosovo. So that's really a wonderful service, and very, yeah, I guess we actually feel quite honoured that we can support people like that in that situation. And I know that in Zambia, Anderson Simpukwe, he's also using a Spark of Life philosophy in prisons over there as well. We have had a master practitioner in Australia who used the philosophy to support refugees in Tasmania, and actually also women in a maximum security prison. She was a volunteer there, had some success working with them. And of course, Jessica Nakiribango, she's in Uganda. She's also been she has a school for the children with dyslexia and neurological disorders, and had a lot of success using the philosophy with them too. So it's definitely organically going out into some of these areas, and it's about meeting those human needs and helping elicit the human potential. So absolutely, it can go into any field, really.
Yeah, I suppose we should. Oh, sorry, Tanya, go on.
Sorry, I just thought I'd jump after the master practitioner course. I came home and I applied the principles within my own family, and my son had incredible results from that. And he was having issues with a diagnosis of ADHD and some mental health issues at the time, and it's been transformative for him.
Thank you, Tanya. Diane said, my mum is in a dementia specialist nursing home. It's heartbreaking that some people living there don't have any visits from their families. My guess is that that might be due to a belief that the person they knew is no longer there. It sounds like the spark of life is something that families need to know about as well as professionals. How can families learn more? Thanks, Diane.
Well, master practitioners are actually given, we've developed some special education for families, and I think there's definitely a need that's become evident. And so one way that we can support families is through the master practitioners. So if we can have more master practitioners implementing the model, they also have the tools that can support families. So that would probably be like the first way of making that possible. We do provide education, and usually at this point our main focus is to work with a service. So we provide an education that's, say, a one-day course for an aged care service, and sometimes they do open them up to families as well. So it's a work in progress. We're really aware that families need more, and we have got some a full module family education, and we'll be able to give people more information about that soon. Actually, one thing I'd really recommend, if people want to sign up for our free newsletter, I can do that just through our website. Then we can keep people posted about new developments, and including things like family education. So it's kind of watch this space because it's coming soon.
Brilliant, thank you. Kate, we've got quite a few questions from Kate, so we'll see how many we get through. Have you had anyone complete the training whose first language is British Sign Language and second language English?
No. That was a quick answer.
Okay, so a second question is are resources supported? So on Zoom, do you use captions so that people could follow if they use British Sign Language?
I think it's something we could certainly look at. It's probably one of those technology things, so we could look into that if that became necessary. Yes,
have you
very open?
It sounds like you're solution focused, and you would find a way that if you had someone who needed that extra support, you'd find a way.
Yeah, we would. Yeah.
Have you had anyone in a voluntary role but professionally trained, for example, an OT? When you talked about who the master practitioners were, I think she's maybe thinking about that.
Okay. Usually the master practitioners would be employed by a service, but we've often had volunteers that go through other education, Spark of Life rehabilitative program course. We've had quite a lot of volunteers who've done that because they're often like supporting the staff members who are implementing that program. So the education is definitely suited also for volunteers. But I'd say the master leadership program probably would be better if they're actually employed by a service, because just the whole nature of that program.
Brilliant. If people, what are the 3 key messages you would have for anybody watching this who's interested in finding out more about Spark of Life?
Contact us. So we've got the email info@dementiacareinternational.com. Have a look at our website. There's some inspiring stories. If you go to the global community, you'll see all the stories from around the world. Also on the homepage, if you scroll down, you'll see results from leaders. Maybe I can send you some links, possibly, that you could pop up with when this video goes up online, then you can see those. I think the first step would be to actually email us, and we can make contact, especially if people are looking at doing some of the courses. We can give you further information. So there's lots of YouTubes as well. We've got a YouTube channel, so if you go to Dementia Care International YouTube channel, you can really be inspired by some of those videos, and follow us on the social media too. So we've got Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and there's a Facebook also for our Dementia Foundation for Spark of Life. So that's our charity arm. That's how we've supported some of the developing countries with the model of care. So
Brilliant.
yes,
so, tons of ways that people can find out more about Spark of Life.
There are.
Thank you thank you all. If you have a question, quickly pop it in now. We're in our last few minutes. If not, I'm going to just let you know that our last webinar of the summer will be with Professor Christina Victor, who will be discussing the importance of looking at loneliness across the life course, not just for older people. And that's going to be on July the 17th at 1:30. That's UK time. I don't think we've got any more questions. I think people are sort of processing all of that information, and it has been fantastic to get that information from you both. So thank you so much for giving your time today to share your work and passion, and so many fantastic examples of where it's been put into place and the difference it's made to people's lives. So thank you so much. Oh, we're getting a little clap, 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 clap. So thank you both so much. Wait a minute, there's one more thing. Not a question, a comment for you. Thank you for asking questions, Emma. It is disappointing to find that the person-centered approach is not inclusive. Maybe my question will prompt this to be considered. Yeah, I think, you know, if you haven't come across it, you haven't come across it. But I think certainly it sounds as if you would look to find a solution to have somebody on who can't hear. I think that's my understanding from what you said, Hilary.
Of course,
so you would look
yes.
for solutions. Yeah.
We would, yes, we always look at solutions.
Brilliant. Okay, thank you all so much. There's lots of nice comments that have come in, so thank you everybody. I hope, Tanya, I hope that your tea is really nice that you're about to have, and I hope that Hilary, you have a lovely evening, and anyone in the UK, I hope that you enjoy your afternoon with a little bit of sunshine, but not too much sunshine. Brilliant. Thanks everyone.
Thank you so much, Emma, for having us.
Okay, take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.